Welcome everybody to Geek Boots, Military Nerds. Here at Geek Boots, I like to tell you all about the big green weenie and how it likes to continue to fuck us. Just like when you sign up for something and because your contract sounds cool, only to find out you'll be actually sweeping buildings literally. This TikTok came across my feed, and this guy is infantry, and he signed up because he thought he'd be sweeping buildings, and then he's just sweeping the dust on the floor inside the building, and he's like, this is not what I meant.
Brooming buildings? I don't know how to say it.
Exactly. This week's episode is all about the Suicide Squad and Jungle Cruise, tentatively titled The Suicide Cruise.
You almost said it wrong.
It's all good. It's all good. I own it. Which I guess, I mean, I didn't get to see Jungle Cruise. You did. I saw the Suicide Squad. You didn't.
Yeah.
From what I've seen from the trailer, I mean, it could have been titled The Suicide Cruise, honestly.
It could have been. Totally could have been.
Shout outs as always, Mo Geeks Comics and Collectibles. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you're in the Pacific Northwest and you're looking for a comic book shop, check out Mo Geeks Comics and Collectibles in the Mill Creek, Bothell, Kirkland area. It's like smack dab in the middle of all of them.
In the middle of all.
Yeah, I mean, I live in the Bothell area, and it's literally a 15-minute drive. But they tentatively titled themselves Mill Geeks because by the address they're in Mill Creek. So it's like what's that one spot in America where like 4 different states merge into one, and like you can go there and technically step in each one of the states for a brief minute.
The Four Corners.
The Four Corners. It's like that for certain, counties and cities and stuff. So anyway.
Yeah, when I lived in Louisiana, there we had the Arklatex, which was Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana.
Yeah.
Or Texarkana, which was the actual city.
Nice. Any shout outs for you?
No, not today. I wasn't thinking about it, so.
Fair enough.
While everyone else is talking, and now I'm like, oh, wait.
I saw the Suicide Squad first, so we'll start with the Suicide Squad, and then we'll roll into Jungle Cruise.
Sounds good.
The Suicide Squad. So by the way, everybody, this is going to be a spoiler-filled episode. I saw the Suicide Squad a week in advance, thanks to Warner Brothers hosting an event that did not really get a lot of ad revenue, because I didn't hear about it until somebody goes, hey, I've got tickets. You should get your tickets this way. And I was like, okay. So I did. Went to see the movie. It was fantastic.
How you had already seen it when it came out today?
Yeah, it comes out today because we're recording to this week's episode Thursday, so it comes out tonight technically, but it'll be out for this weekend for everybody to see and enjoy. But I got to see it a week ago, and I'm gonna go right into spoilers and just talk about the movie. First and foremost, everyone's always gonna ask, how does James Gunn? So the premise of this movie is a soft reboot / sequel, and people were like, what do you mean? I don't understand. He answers that very well in this movie without having it be a heavy burden for the movie. Essentially, they start the movie off without giving much of a intro. It's like hitting that California Adventure ride, the Mickey ride, where it shoots from 0 to 60 in like 2.5 seconds or some shit like that. It's like that. The second the movie starts, we're off on the races. And all they're doing is giving names and powers to the new cast and characters that you have yet to meet. A lot of kind of fourth wall breakage commentary that happens to the movie. When we're talking about Bloodsport, I think? Yeah, Bloodsport. We're hiring you because of this. These are the reasons why we're hiring you, because you're experienced in these roles. Then they come up to Peacemaker and list the same exact reasons why they're casting him. He pauses and he goes, hold the fuck up. Everything you're listing for him is the same reason you're listing me. So why are there 2 of us? I don't understand. I thought we were supposed to be unique for this whole entire thing. She turns around, shoots it down real fast. She goes, I need the best of the best for this mission. So if I need to double up, that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm like, all right. As far as the whole soft reboot / sequel, we get into the fucking plane and we meet Harley Quinn finally, and Rick Flag. Rick Flag already knows Harley, and Harley's acting like this is not her first rodeo. And then she sees Captain Boomerang, and she goes, Boomer, what's up? And they're talking. And when they're exchanging this slight verbal conversation, they're talking about how they've been here before. And then on the mission that's been reported on the beach, they're like, this isn't my first Suicide Squad mission. So acknowledging the first movie without heavily letting it control the new movie. Exactly. So it did really well. I really appreciated the amount of villains that they had in this movie, because technically speaking, you get 3 villains, 3 physical villains, and they all played their part really well. I mean,
villains to the villains.
the fucking star doesn't necessarily have to have a personality, but it was cool nonetheless. So they managed to have 2 villains with really good personalities. It's the age-old Kingsman thing, you know. A really good villain makes the movie. So the 2 villains that they had helped really carry the movie. Suicide Squad was just fantastic. I mean, unlike the original Suicide Squad, this one, you get an equal balance and chemistry amongst every member of the group. Not just, even though they exist, pretty much anybody who's anybody only concentrates on fucking Deadshot and Harley Quinn. The rest of them have their moments, but that's really it. This one, everybody gets love, and I really appreciated that. I appreciated that this movie keeps you guessing. It has a couple of plot twists. The movie never takes itself seriously. It commentaries on itself quite a bit, being a ridiculous movie, and how, like, what the fuck is going on here? What? Why would this work? It's really great. John Cena did a fantastic job as Peacemaker. Idris Elba. I mean, come on, it's Idris fucking Elba. I feel like everything he touches, he's really good at. And yeah, once again, sealing her spot as the only actress as Harley Quinn. Margot Robbie did a fantastic job.
I feel like Margot Robbie has become the essence of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, it's the flip reversal opposite of Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool.
With Deadpool. Yeah, I agree.
They wrote when they redid Deadpool in the comic books, the new writers that came in pulled inspiration from Ryan Reynolds and his comedic career, most notably Van Wilder. So Ryan did in an interview, he was reading a comic book just, you know, because he wanted to be one of the few guys who actually read the comic books and did his research on the character he's about to play. And the first book he picks up is the one that says Deadpool looks like a cross between Ryan Reynolds and a radioactive Shar-Pei. And he shuts the book real fast. He goes, God, is this a sign? Like, what the fuck? He didn't know that. So that being said, there's definitely this distinct difference, because I see that too with Margot Robbie. I see her now on social media and stuff, and she's able to continue being herself, but then she's also able to click onto this persona and really just nail it home. I think it's kind of like a healthy version of Heath Ledger. I don't know if that's too soon to say, but Heath Ledger, when he did Joker in The Dark Knight,
I get
it really affected him. Yeah. This time, Margot Robbie's letting Harley Quinn affect her, but in a positive way, because she's still able to live her life and play other roles and be herself. Rest in peace to one of the best actors of Joker, by the way. Yeah, so Suicide Squad, definitely worth the watch. I gotta say, I think that ultimately my favorite character out of the whole thing was Polka Dot Man, because he is the most underrated out of all of them. He gets equal amount of time, but it's like they're sitting there doing this mission, and he shoots the polka dots up at this tower full of snipers, and it melts the tower away and kills them too, because that's what the polka dots do. And everyone's just like, remind me not to piss you off. Holy fucking shit. So, and then it was really great because they got to talk about his power for a second. And he goes, my mom was studying quantum physics and interdimensional travel, and she needed guinea pigs, so she tested it on all of her kids, and I'm the only one who survived. And they're all like, wow, how do you get through this? And he goes, I just imagine my enemies are my moms. And they're like, what do you mean? And then you get a fucking visual of him looking at the cast of the Suicide Squad, and it's all his mom, but dressed up as the Suicide Squad. And you're just like, what? Oh my God, this is insane. Yeah. So he was my favorite for sure, especially because his powers are so great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then King Shark played very well. King Shark is the shark.
What?
He did really good too. I loved that he just ate people. That's how he battled everybody. He would take the shots because he's got like this thick skin. So he would take all the bullets and then he'd run at people and just eat them. And they'd be like, oh fuck, and everyone would scatter. And that's how King Shark would do his thing.
He's like a bowling ball.
Yeah. Peacemaker and Bloodsport had kind of like a buddy cop relationship. So they had to go in and save Rick. That was their decision, to go in to save Rick from these being captured. So they're in a super secret, like sneaky kind of op, and they're killing all these guys, and they're trying to one up each other each time, like on how they're doing it, like with the way their weapons are. I gotta admit, I think Bloodsport had the better weapons because his weapons were a part of his armor too. He would take something off and then it would transform like fucking Transformers and turn into a gun, and then he could shoot people. And then he would apply it back to his fucking chest. It was really awesome. And then Peacemaker, he shoots something. I can't remember what he shoots, but it hits the guy, and it doesn't look like it does anything. And Peacemaker goes, are you kidding me? You missed one. I'm about to shoot, and he goes, wait for it. And the guy all of a sudden bursts into flames. And so Bloodsport goes, they talk about, one-upping each other. And he goes, I'm still cooler, blah, blah, blah. And Peacemaker goes, yeah, except I just lit a guy on fire with one of my slow reactive rounds because it's fucking awesome. So you suck. And Bloodsport turns around, sighs, but then goes, damn it. Like he admits that was fucking epic. They go up, they move back the curtain. There's Rick Flag chilling. Turns out he wasn't necessarily captured. He was rescued by the rebel militia of the country, and they had just accidentally killed everybody. So that is the one major spoiler I will give. Definitely worth a watch. I would argue that it is better than the original Suicide Squad, because one gripe I had with the original Suicide Squad is that while I love, it's like a hello.
Sorry.
It's kind of like a you love to hate kind of thing. You love, hate it.
Yeah.
I love that we really got to see in the original Suicide Squad Margot Robbie nailing Harley Quinn. However, this is a Suicide Squad movie, and I would really love to get more love to certain characters.
Oh, of course.
Captain Boomerang, I felt, was completely robbed in the original movie because he had like one major scene to use his powers. In the new one, he's able to use his powers quite a lot, actually. I really appreciated that in this new one. I felt like the whole movie really rode on the shoulders of Deadshot and Harley. This movie rides on the shoulders of essentially this group of people who don't necessarily like each other, don't know much about each other at all, ending up having to work together to solve the problem. and that was really cool. And of course, it's in the trailer. I gotta give love to that scene where they're about to go save Harley Quinn, and she's like, "What are you guys doing?" They turn around. They're like, "Harley?" And she's like, "Yeah, we're coming in to rescue you." You were gonna rescue me? Well, not anymore. You're right here. Well, I can go back inside and you can do it anyway. No, that's just patronizing. Fuck you. Like, that was fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
God, yeah, fantastic cast. They gave so much love and attention to each one of these characters. Their performances were just top notch, and then again, I mean, you're talking about doing a really good comedy. I mean, sure, if you suck at telling a joke, you suck at telling a joke, but everybody performed admirably, and I really love that. As always, it's a James Gunn movie, so his brother plays Weasel, and that was fucking hilarious. Weasel's role in this entire movie was just a oh my god, what the fuck. Oh, and I had no idea that freaking Nathan Fillion was in this movie. So holy shit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
He ends up playing a character that not a lot of people are aware of, but they did it to a degree. They did some justice. He could do a little more with it, but whatever. So
well, I mean, there's a lot of characters, so you gotta
yeah, they gave him the role of a very loose character that he detaches his arms, and then his arms can levitate and move to wherever he needs them to go to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody was like, they don't really know what their powers are for the most part, because they just got in a plane. They're like, these are who these people are, and they're on this beachhead doing this mission, and they're like, all right, it's your turn. You got to do what you got to do. And he goes, all right, cool. So he detaches his arms, and everybody on the beach is looking at him in sheer horror. Like, that's your fucking power? What the fuck? And so you think this is going to be great because these floating arms could run around, punch people, choke people. Instead, they just do this. Just slap fighting everybody. And I'm just like, you could have done so much more. And then they shoot the arms, and Nathan Fillion's character is laying on the ground feeling every bullet hit his arms. So he's just sitting there spazzing out without any arms, feeling all the bullets. That was quite an entertaining visual. I'm really glad I saw it. So
sounds entertaining.
Right. The starfish, the space starfish. There's this one line that I really loved, as just before the big fight scene, and his line is, "I was just chilling in space, minding my business, and y'all fucking kidnapped me. Fuck you." I'm like, all right, fair enough. So, yeah. It's such a good movie. I was just filling out the time slot because I'm like, I just shared a lot of the movie already, and I've only been talking for about 18 minutes, and we got a whole hour to go.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. So yeah, the Suicide Squad. Make sure you see it. If you feel comfortable going to the theaters, it's definitely worth the theater experience, because of perfect sound. Because unlike my home theater system, if an explosion goes off, the whole room shakes. But if they talk, I need to turn up the volume.
Yeah, I get that.
Fucking hell. It's bullshit. Anyway, shifting gears now.
Shifting gears.
The Jungle Cruise with The Rock and Emily Blunt. Oh my god.
So that was fantastic. Let me just tell you. So my one request, I don't know if everybody has seen the ride or been on the ride of the Jungle Cruise. My one thing going in, I was like, if they do not do puns, I will be mad. Like, I will be mad.
Yeah. And
The Rock did not disappoint.
Yes.
That was like his personality, his persona.
Mm-hmm.
overdo it. Don't get me wrong. They didn't overdo it where, because eventually it would get annoying. So when like big things were going on, there might be like one that would like slide through.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
For
it's
the
not
most
like
part.
his pure dialogue. It's
No, it wasn't everything.
situational. Okay.
But so basically when you meet him, he is a Jungle Cruise
tour guide.
Yes. And so part of his tour was going through a lot of these little puns. Just like the ride.
Just like the ride. I fucking love that.
And so yeah, that it was super exciting for me, and I was like, like most of the movie, I was like spitting out the lines because I have them like memorized. So he would like set them up, and then like they would come out of my mouth, and then like I profusely had to apologize to my boyfriend afterwards. Like, I am so sorry, but when you set up the backside of water, I was so excited, like way too excited with the whole movie, like every time. So, okay, basically, premises of the movie, their Emily Blunt's character, this takes place in like 1916, I think, like right before World War One.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I think it says like 2 years before World War One ends, or like I don't remember what it said at the beginning, but it tells you, it dates you. And so her character, being a scientist, is very much looked down upon.
Because she's a woman, and that's that decade.
Yes. And so she has her brother up on stage talking to the world scientist people, trying to get them to give her something so they can go explore and try to find this story that they had set up about 400 years ago or 700 years ago, or whatever it was, earlier. And they're trying to see if there is actually this flower, which is what it is. It's a flowering plant that is supposed to heal anyone. And that's what she wants to do. She's a botanist, and she wants to figure out if there really is this plant and try to figure out how to use it to help people. And so she's trying to get this relic that the high society relic people, I don't know, they had names, that they had just found. And so her brother is up on stage, like giving this speech awkwardly and uncomfortably, because he's not very good public speaker. And kind of like pans out to the back, and she is like saying the speech with him. Because it's where you clearly learn this is all of her idea.
Yeah. She might as well have fucking those cards and just start flipping through them.
He has cards in his hand, so he is flipping through trying to read it.
Oh, okay.
But it is clearly awkward. Like, his hands are sweating, the ink is running, that whole thing.
Palms are sweaty, knees weak. He's mom's spaghetti.
And then, of course, they tell him no. They're like, this sounds like some paper that I read some time ago by this woman. And they're like, wait, what was your name?
Damn it.
They have the same name. But while he is doing this, she is actually in the back room stealing the artifact.
Ooh, okay. Wow. Sticking it to the man.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
And then, of course, when she takes off with the artifact, in comes the protagonist, who walks in, and he is a German prince who is trying to get it for Germany to make war soldiers better. And so then we've got
that's how Nazis happened.
And so now you have these two groups now trying to flock to the Amazon to try to find this flower, this magic flowering tree. And so that happens, and then you, of course, meet The Rock later on, and he's like has this cruise going, which his boat is falling apart. It is
Sounds about right.
Barely afloat. As he's doing it, he's swinging around his boat, like fixing things and steering and like jumping and like going around. That's why when you said Suicide Cruise, I was like, yes, it was for all the people included. And he, like, one of his things was, yeah, I get paid to take you out, not to bring you home.
Oh shit. Oh man.
And so yeah, so that was, and then of course there's this misunderstanding in the bar when she's trying to find the person who really kind of owns the town, and he has like all of the boats in the town except for the one that The Rock owns.
Oh, right.
And he's trying to like run him out of town type thing because he's the rich guy, and he likes the look of this town to be a certain way, and this guy is not following in this rich guy look, and this is a very town,
Yeah,
right on the Amazon River. And so people want to go up and down the Amazon River and see what there is to be seen, and he has kind of made a mockery of it where he is like put like a hippo head, and hippos aren't in the Amazon, by the way.
suspension of belief. We need to spice this movie up a little bit.
No, he did it. Like, it's even said in the movie, like this little girl turns around and she's like, hippos aren't in the Amazon. And he's like, because ride itself in Disney is the Amazon and the Nile River.
Okay.
So you get a multitude of different animals
Yeah.
to go through. And so when you're doing a movie, you can either be in one location or the other.
Yeah.
So they made it into more of a, oh, look, we're going to put things that are part of the ride here.
No.
And use some of the ride lines with things that aren't actually going to be here. And then, so it was super silly, but so fun. It had like that, the Pirates of the Caribbean type of feel.
Okay.
A lot of action, there's a lot of running, there's a lot of motion, there's a lot of movement, cute little stories in the background. All the characters have, I mean, it's, 3 characters, but you get in depth into their backstories and that kind of stuff as they go along and get to know each other and that kind of thing. So we've got the super sweet stories going on, plus action-packed stories going on. So I really enjoyed it. It was so fun.
At first, I thought you were going to start this off with, before you go see this movie, I need you to go actually get on the ride first. And I was about to be like, this is an expensive movie already. Like,
I mean, technically you can YouTube it and YouTube the ride.
There you go. Yeah, right.
But I've been on it so many times, and they have like, actually there is a list online that you can find of like all of the puns that they're allowed to use on this ride. And like switch between them. So it's super fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it myself. Mostly because it's The Rock and Emily Blunt more than anything else.
They had so much chemistry, like the two of them together, and then her and her brother, or the guy who played her brother, which I don't remember who that was. And I know. I'm like, wait, I can't be quiet. I don't remember who played him offhand, but I'm not really good with actor names, anyways.
But what else has he been in?
Jack Whitehall.
Time out, everybody. Now I have to Google who the fuck this is.
Let's see. I don't really know. Oh, he's going to be in Clifford the Big Red Dog, which I'm sadly kind of excited about.
Jack Whitehall. Oh. Oh, him. He plays the brother? That's interesting. Yeah, he has that naive, like, younger brother stupidity look. So I could see that.
He is very off. Like, Lily, which is Emily Blunt, she gets called by Frank, which is The Rock.
Yeah.
he calls her pants all the time because she shows up wearing pants
Instead of a dress because of the
instead of a
time
dress.
period.
Yes, and so like that's the first thing he says to her is like, "You're wearing pants," and she's like, "Wow, you're astute." And he's
Yeah.
like, "Are they wearing pants in England now?" Like, would you get over the fact I'm wearing pants? But no, he calls her pants the entire movie. Every time's her.
Wow.
But when they go to get on the boat for the first time and like all the stuff is coming, he looks at her and he's like, "We can't fit all your stuff on here." She goes, "That's not mine." And she holds up her like small little duffel.
Yeah.
It's all his stuff.
Damn, bro. Damn.
He's like, I need my summer coat and my winter coat and my whatever and these shoes with and my golfing stuff. And he's like, "We're not going golfing." He's like, "What is this?" Because they had those big box tote kind of things back in the day.
Wow.
So yeah.
I'm just picturing the polar opposite of The Mummy, where Rick O'Connell had one bag and she had like 5. And he's just
Yeah.
like, whatever, I've got what I need on me. I'm done. I'm good. Nope,
Yeah.
This guy's going to be like, I need all my clothes for this.
Yeah. She was the explorer. He was the person.
The person.
The tag along.
He's the eye candy. I mean, Don't get me wrong. You got The Rock and Emily Blunt already, but he is the eye candy, essentially.
Yeah.
He's the dumb blonde that everybody wants to go flock to the movie for.
And then you learn like more of his story and that kind of stuff, and it's sweet too, like the reason why he goes along with her even though he's clearly out of his element.
Well, that's good. Can't wait to see it. To fill out this last bit of this episode, let's bring something up that's interesting, considering it's talking about the Jungle Cruise. So they made 90 million at the box office opening night. Not exactly something to go telling your kids about, considering just back in 2019, several movies either made over 100 million or they flopped. So, The Rock posted on social media about how grateful he was that this movie was seen and people enjoyed it. And of course, my fiance and I are kind of eyeing certain aspects of media right now ever since a certain somebody decided to come forward and sue Disney for breaking their contract.
Yes.
Due to the budget. And I could not help but think, because not only did she do it, what's her name did it over Cruella too most recently.
Yeah.
And I could not help but think either A, this is The Rock deciding to be humble, which I'm not gonna lie, that is textbook The Rock, because if he needs to fucking get into your face about anything, he will. He's not afraid of anything, especially when you're over 6 feet tall, stacks of muscle.
Oh my god, they make fun of his size in the movie so many times.
Do they really? Oh, good.
So many times.
But I mean, at the same time, I also can't help but think maybe it's because Disney is gonna fucking flex on him and be like, no, you see your contract, good buddy, you had to say something nice, which ties into the big green weenie of you signed up on your contract for something cool, and then you end up going into sweeping actual floors.
Well, also at the same time, he might not has. I mean, the movie just came out; it's only been out for a week. His budget has not been established yet of what he's going to make from it. And at this moment in time, he's just wanting to thank the fans for going out and doing and being there, and not necessarily wanting to bring into things that are more business.
Yeah.
Dividends.
Yeah.
Even if he does follow suit, which I wouldn't blame him if he did, because it is kind of bad to be like, oh, now we're going to release half of our stuff on
Disney Plus, yeah.
Disney Plus, but we're not going to rearrange, COVID hit everybody, including actors. So they need to
Yeah.
They do need to figure something out. They can't just be like, oh, that's all our money because it was on our platform and not in the theaters. Well, They didn't
Yeah.
know she didn't know it was going to be released that way when she did it, because that could have been a change of, a deal breaker.
That's a good point. That's something I didn't think of, because I mean, let's dial it back, bringing it back to something that was said when we first started talking about seeing movies premiere on Disney Plus. Um, you know, the whole conversation of, because people were, butthurt that Disney Plus was charging $30 or whatever to buy it on Disney Plus,
Mm-hmm.
and we were all like, I mean, they got to get paid somehow. And you bring up an interesting point, because if that's the
And
case,
now they're
then
saying they're not.
yeah, they're not getting paid for the Disney Plus charges, and that is fucked up, because it's like, okay, well then who's seeing the money? Because let's forego. Okay, I have my mentality of it is, it's one of those things where I don't really have a horse in this race, but at the same time I can't help but as a human being judge and have an opinion.
Yeah.
We're talking about people who make way more than most people on the planet. As far as I'm concerned, oh no, you didn't make $1 million. Go fuck yourself. But at the same time, I'm also like, like you said,
But
COVID
they
hit
have
everybody. They need to make money.
they've been living their life in a certain manner. If you go ahead and take away half of what they were expecting to get, it's still going to hit them hard.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Now they have to sell one of 5 of their private jets. The salt.
Come on now.
But no, I totally understand that aspect. But furthermore, let's take the actor element out of the picture for a second. The cast and crew, the crew behind the cameras that are not making as much as the actor portraying. As Denzel,
they're making like what we make.
Yeah, as Denzel Washington put it best, when it was like one of those circle of ask the actors or whatever, and Denzel Washington was very humble when asked about how hard their job is. He was like, I remember lines and then I perform them. This job isn't hard. This job is a goddamn luxury and a blessing. You want to try a hard job? Join the military. Do that and then come talk to me. And all the other actors at the table were just like,
but it's hard for us. I mean,
I should shut the fuck up. But at the same, it's that same concept. So my heart now, it's not so much the actors. Like, I mean, yeah, okay, a small violin for you. Now I do have to worry about the people behind the camera, the people behind the lighting, the extras.
Extras get paid per hour prior to the movie coming out, and then it never matters. I've been an extra a few times.
That's right, you have. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see the ending of Butter, you'll find cosplay Jenemy.
You will. I was also in The Gates, the TV show that did one season, which was actually really good. I don't know why it never went anywhere. And that was it. It fizzled out after one season. But I was in that one too. But I don't remember what episode to tell you exactly.
But that is the important angle. It's like, that's the conversation that should be having.
But I have worked with these people.
These actors aren't getting paid more. Whatever. Well, if they're not getting paid from Disney
it's a
Plus,
trickle down.
then the lighting crew, the camera staff, the editor's room, they're not seeing a dime in that money either.
Or the unionized actors that aren't the big names. There's a lot of people who are on screen who have a line. If you have a line, you're all of a sudden in the movie.
Yeah.
You have like 1 or 2 lines, and now you're not in.
It just reminds me of another element too, which ties into what we're saying. So again, it was some Facebook group. I can't find the post to save my life anymore, but I'll never forget it, because it made me feel something. I was like, you are such an idiot. They posted about how thank God for Disney Plus, because they refuse to pay X amount of dollars or what have you. And I'm over, or God, I don't remember what it was. No. Okay. Suicide Squad. I had to really think about this for a second. I totally remember. Thank God for the Suicide Squad. Can't wait to watch it on HBO Max, because I'm not spending the $30 or any amount of money to go into theaters. And I was very tempted to just post on there going, so fuck these guys making money. And not only that, I mean, it's $30 as opposed to the fucking 40, and then the snacks, close to $100 just to go see a movie in theaters.
Well, the funny
You
thing
know what I
is,
mean?
I
And
think about all the time is we were renting movies on Amazon for
yeah,
we have been doing that for years.
still
And
do.
yeah, right. And nobody has complained about that. Well, I could just wait and watch it on Netflix. It'll eventually come out on Netflix. Sure, you can. Or you can purchase it or rent it.
And then have it forever because Netflix is not permanent. Fucking idiots. Anyway, but this whole trickle down, and I'm thinking, I'm like, wow. We haven't heard any complaints necessarily from everybody on Warner Brothers through HBO Max. So obviously HBO Max is paying their people, and Disney Plus
It
is
was
not.
probably
So
already
yeah,
it was
so
probably already it was probably already renegotiated and contracted. The
yeah. Oh, okay.
with Disney is because HBO had already kind of started doing this before the newer movies had been filmed.
Mm-hmm.
Cruella and Black Widow was either filmed or had prior to
True.
COVID
Yeah. Well,
filming.
especially because Black Widow was supposed to be released beginning of last year.
Plus, she's been contracted for that movie for the last 11 years.
Yep.
So that is a big difference.
Yeah. But
what she would have made from the Avengers,
yeah,
what she made in Black Widow, and then that's her own movie.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
And I can't help but just think, I think like we're talking about, the topic isn't necessarily how much money you're spending to go watch these movies. It realistically should be who you are actually supporting, because again,
I will always support the arts.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I will always support the arts. And if I have to pay $30 to watch a show or a movie on top of what I'm already paying, which I don't think so because I pay for Amazon Prime and still rent a movie off of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To me, it was no different. Okay, I will pay a little bit more to see this early.
Yeah.
Nobody's forcing you to go to the movies. Nobody's forcing you to pay the $30. You can wait it out.
Yeah.
Or always been given the option to wait it out. I mean, we used to drive our cars to a movie rental store.
Those were the days.
A movie, drive it back. Well, we spent like $20 extra on candy.
A blockbuster.
Drive home and then watch the movie once, maybe twice, before we turn it back in the next day or 2 days.
And you know what? I fucking
Nobody
missed the
complained
shit
about
out
that
of those days.
because you could have just waited until it came out on cable.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem with instant information gratification, is because now nobody has that patience.
Because and you also had to wait. You still watched it in theaters and then waited the 3 to 6 months until it came
DVD.
And then rented it, not bought it, because you could have bought it at the same time. And then rented it.
Yeah.
And realized you still liked it and then went and bought it. So you spent more and more and more. And now it's like one cost and you get it for
gas, movie, dinner if you're feeling frisky. Wait a couple of months, rent it to remind yourself if it's worthy of purchase, and then purchase on Blu-ray DVD. Suddenly that $30 for streaming doesn't seem that bad. But people are fucking dumb, so it is what it is.
Always and forever.
You can pull the military card. There's torrent sites all over the place. You just got to find a really good handy cam version and you're good to go. I mean, you might have to deal with a crying child in the fucking background of this fucking film, or the occasional and in the middle of the film, but whatever, it's fine.
Speaking of them, did they always have like this interesting smell to them? Do you remember that?
Are you talking about, okay, wait, hold on.
The bootleg ones that you bought in Iraq.
Oh, see, I didn't do that. See, again, so I didn't do bootleg because when I was in Korea, the thing was to do it digitally. Because the other thing, the other thing that is a benefit about being in Korea, so for our listeners and everybody, here's an interesting factoid about the difference between America and literally everyone else. Everyone else gets it released first.
Sometimes.
I got all the movies I wanted in the PX in Korea a month before my family did back home.
Yeah,
Now,
we
like
didn't do that in Iraq, by the
it's
way.
not released here yet, and I'm like, oh well, I'm watching it on Blu-ray right now. Like, I don't know what your problem is. Like,
Because we
so,
had to wait until it released in the States and then sent over.
but I mean, that's how I watched The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones,
I watched
Supernatural,
all of
Supernatural,
House when I was in
um,
Iraq.
WWE. Like when I got into Korea and I was like, oh, I can have a laptop out now and everything. I watch anything I want, use torrents and stuff. Yeah, I downloaded that shit. So I became the rental area at my barracks, by the way, practically from a whole base. People would come up, knock on my barracks room door, and they would exchange movies. So, hey, I'm done with this movie. I would like to look at the library now. I had an very extensive
So,
amount of movies, and then if they
well, we
wanted, they
did.
had a jump drive, and if I had torrents, they would put it on the jump drive and take off.
So we had, when I was in Iraq, we did have a, like I don't know, the military wide, like not military wide, but base wide, software connector server.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
sure.
They had probably 1,500 movies on it,
Nice.
and anywhere we connected to the internet, we could connect into there and rent. They were all old movies, so it was basically like Netflix when Netflix first came out.
Mm.
It was like when it first was released digitally, like where not sending movies, but when it was first released digitally on where we could get it on TV, where it was all old movies, like movies that had been out for a long time.
Sure.
That's kind of what the drive for the military drive was. But there was tons of them, and there was music too. And every time people would deploy, they were like, hey, bring a external hard drive
to copy the movies you bring back so you don't have to make this drive over again. I feel that so hard. I did that a couple of times myself. Somebody who had been there longer than me, and they had movies, and I'm like, man, I don't have that movie. And they go, well, it's not being sold at the PX. So if you want this shit, because I couldn't get it off Amazon and have it sent out to me. Certain movies didn't do that. So
because there's proxy servers for Amazon, and you can only rent.
Yep. So I would go in with my own external hard drive and be like, all right, I want this movie, and this movie. Yeah, those were the fucking days.
Yeah, but when I would go, we had a bazaar, which was like an outdoor shopping center thing, and they had basically bootleg movies that were newer movies or TV shows or that kind of things that for like $3. Sometimes $1, sometimes $5 for an entire season of something, or series, an entire series. Like I bought the entire series of House for $5. Not just the season, the entire series. I think I still have it somewhere. But what I was saying is they have this like very unique smell to them. I could probably go find them.
Probably. The question is, will they smell that way still?
I don't know. I bet they would. I'm gonna have to check that. Maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow. I'll have to look.
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
they do not play in DVDs here now, though. I can't play them anymore.
I still can. Thank God I have a PlayStation, because it was a game changer during the pandemic when we really felt like we were locked down. There was some type of mental switch. And I think it's just because there's a lot of information that's thrust at you in a screen. I believe we've talked about this in a previous episode, but it was such a...
No, I mean, like, they're so old, they're not compatible with putting them in and being able to play them.
They have yet to be transferred. Got it. Got it. You just need to send a letter to the fucking production people or whatever, whoever
they were bootlegged.
Meh.
Oh, Meet the Robinson. So I have Meet the Robinsons, and when it would get to the part where it have some type of writing on it would like quickly flip through a bunch of different like languages until it settled on English. Like, oh, this is the English version. because that came out while I was overseas, I think, or I just bought it there. I don't remember, but
So, the Suicide Squad and Jungle Cruise.
yes.
Crude. Words are hard
Crude.
sometimes. The Suicide Squad, is it worthy of going to theaters for? Abso-fucking-lutely. The Jungle Cruise, is it worthy of going into theaters for, do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%.
Boom. So that's apparently thanks COVID, you gave us a new way to rate movies on this on this podcast. Is it worthy of going to the theaters and risking your safety and everything? Fuck yeah.
Well, the theater I go to is one of those dine-in theaters, so there's a lot of space between everybody.
Nice. Awesome. So anyway, the Suicide Cruise.
Yeah.
Make sure you check us out on all of our platforms: YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon, your mother's backside. Check us out on Patreon. Patreon gives you sweet deals if we're feeling frisky. That's just most of the time. We'll shoot off what the episode title is going to be or what the episode is going to be about, and you get to ask us questions, and we get to answer those questions here on the podcast. We did not do that for this episode. I apologize, but giant shout out to our patrons. Guts and Sean, you guys are fantastic human beings. Absolutely love you, both of you. I owe you both a fucking reach around. Maybe at the same time if I'm feeling frisky. That being said, thank you for tuning into this exciting episode. Tune in next time for whatever the fuck we decide to talk about. Something. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I'm Tom Cruise, military nerd, and that's Cosplay Genevieve.
Yeah, we got that. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Suck a fucking dick, motherfucker. Suck a fucking dick.
Motherfucker!
Suck a fucking dick, motherfucker. Suck a fucking dick.
Motherfucker!